Before we can begin to learn about the many features and functions in PowerPoint 2007, we'll need to launch the application. Now I'm using Windows Vista here, so it works a little bit differently than previous versions of Windows. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, we still have a Start button, but you can see it looks just a little bit different than what we're used to looking at. We click that button, and there is a menu that pops up. Parts of it look familiar. Other parts may look different to you, like down the right-hand side here. Now there's a whole title on using Windows Vista, so I won't go into that. But to launch Microsoft Office PowerPoint 2007, it may show up here if you've been using it. These are the most recently used applications. You can also go through the All Programs option, and you can see it's very similar to what you're used to in previous versions of Windows. You'd have to navigate to the various folders like Microsoft Office and find PowerPoint. But what I really like is this shortcut down here where it says Start Search. I'm just going to click down here where the flashing cursor is. And I'm going to start to type in the word PowerPoint. I'll type in POW. And you can see what happens. At the top I've got programs that start with POW, including PowerPoint 2007. And then I've got files down below as well. Well, there's the application, so I'm going to give it a click to launch PowerPoint 2007. There you have it. So next, we'll look at opening and closing presentations in PowerPoint. When we launch PowerPoint 2007, like we just did in the previous lesson, we're presented with this new blank presentation by default. Now, to open a presentation that already exists, you'll notice with this new user interface that there's no open button readily available to us. Now, much later on in this title, we'll be talking about modifying the user interface and the quick access toolbar. But for now, to open a presentation, we need to go up to the top left corner here where we'll find the Office button. Give that a click, and that's where you'll find such file options as New, Open, Save, Print, all those things we're used to seeing on the File menu in previous versions. So we'll click the Open button here, and you'll need to navigate to your exercise files for PowerPoint in the Lesson 1 folder, and that's where you'll find Introducing ECP. So you give that a click, and then click the Open button. So that opens up the presentation on your screen, and you'll see at the very top on the title bar the name of the presentation you're working with in Microsoft PowerPoint. Now the same goes for closing a presentation. When you're done working with it and it's all saved up, etc., you'll want to know how to close your presentation. And again, like the Open button, we don't see a Close button readily available to us yet. So again, we go up to the Office button, and that's where you'll find Close way down here at the bottom. Give that a click. If everything's been saved, it simply closes the presentation and brings you back to this blank screen. Notice that we don't have a new blank presentation open at this point. We have no other presentations open. So to continue working with PowerPoint, we would need to go to the Office button to open up another presentation. When we're done working with PowerPoint altogether, we come up to the top right corner to click the Close button here. Alright, next we're going to get more familiar with the user interface that presents itself to you here in PowerPoint 2007. The user interface in every application, including PowerPoint, in the Microsoft Office 2007 suite has changed drastically. So before we start using many of the features and functions in PowerPoint, you'll need to get familiar with some terminology and the various parts of this new user interface. It's best if we have a presentation open when we do this, so if you've got one open already, you're fine. Otherwise, we'll go to the Office button up here, give it a click. We'll come down to Open and click it, and navigate to the Lesson 1 folder of your exercise files and open up Introducing ECP. So give it a click, and then click the Open button. Alright, let's start at the very top of our screen. We still have our title bar at the top like we always have, and you can see the name of the presentation we're working on here in Microsoft PowerPoint. What's different up here is to the left though. We've got the Quick Access toolbar here, which will contain shortcuts to many of the features or the functions that you use most often. So by default here we've got a Save button, we've also got Undo, and we've got the Redo or Repeat button here as well. Now we can modify this, and we will do this later on in the title, so you can add some of the features or functions or commands that you like to use most often here. Of course, to the very far left in the top left corner we've got our Office button, and this works a lot like the File menu that you might be used to in previous versions. Clicking the Office button displays a menu, and you can see we've got many of the file commands like New, Open, Save, and so on And then over here on the right hand side we've got recent documents. So they'll start to get listed here and pile up as you use many of the presentations in PowerPoint. It's a quick way to get back to something that you've already worked on. If we don't really want to select anything from this menu, we'll just click over here in our presentation to close it up. The biggest change to the entire suite, including PowerPoint here, is this section down below the Quick Access toolbar, which we call the ribbon. And the ribbon is context sensitive. So what I mean by that is you'll always get the tools you need when you need them. You'll notice that the ribbon is made up of tabs, and right now the Home tab is selected. And under Home, we've got the Clipboard section here. So this group called Clipboard has paste and cut, copy, and so on. Then we've got the Slides group here where we can create new slides, change the layout, delete slides, reset them. Then we've got the Font group, the Paragraph group, Drawing, and Editing over here. Now as we change tabs, for example when I click Insert here, you'll see I've got some different groups. I can insert tables from the Tables group, illustrations which include pictures and clip arts and shapes and so on. We've got a links group for hyperlinking. We've got a text group for formatting text, including text boxes, headers, footers, word art, and so on. And then we have a media clips group because under the Insert tab, at some point you may want to insert movies or sounds. Then we've got a design tab. We've got animations, a slideshow tab, a review tab. Of course, at the end here, we've got our view tab that's going to allow us to change the way we look at what we're working on here down below in our main area. Down the left-hand side in PowerPoint, you can see we've got the thumbnails listed here and a scroll bar that allows us to scroll through the various slides in our presentation, getting an overview of each of those slides. Now right now I've got 6 slides in this presentation, so there's nothing further to scroll down to. But you can see by clicking any of these thumbnails, I go directly to that slide in my main window here. Down at the bottom of the screen, we've got an area for notes where we can click here to add notes that are attached to the slide that's currently selected. So if I want to add some notes, speaker notes for example down here, I just click down here and start typing in my notes. I'm going to click on the first slide. And over on the right hand side we've got a scroll bar, so we can scroll through our presentation this way. You can see as I click and drag the scroll bar, it tells me which slide I'm going to be looking at when I release my mouse button. So slide 3 of 8, 4 of 8, there's 5, and when I let go, I'll be at slide 5. So just another way to get to a different slide. Down at the bottom on our status bar, you can see which slide you're looking at, the slide number, 1 of 8. You can see that we're using a theme called Corporate Presentation here. We've got some view buttons and zoom slider, etc. that we're going to look at in the next lesson. But you should now be familiar with some of the new parts of your user interface in PowerPoint 2007. Next, we'll start navigating around the interface.